Are you sure? Okay, time for the Sicilian. I haven't played a e6 Sicilian in a while. Maybe I'll go for the con. I think I can still play this way. Let's see. Well, with the queen over here, normally the move in the con is to play the queen here, trying to stop the pawn from advancing, but the pawn is going to come forward anyway. Let's just do a modest setup then. Yeah, I was waiting to see if he was going to push that e-pawn, but he hasn't done it. Is he waiting for me to put my knight out there? As soon as I put the knight there, then he pushes. I take, he takes. Could do it like this, turn it into kind of a French setup by pushing the pawn to d5. Can I do that now? Go here, he takes, I take, and I've got a knight. No, I can't do that. He's got two pieces attacking it, and I only have one. So what I can do is maybe harass that bishop a little. Have to be careful for tricks with the queen, but I've got a bishop here covering this diagonal. So then I can play here. Yeah, let's go ahead and take with the knight. So if he trades, it does clear one more piece out of the way. Makes it a little easier for me to castle. The bishop will go here immediately. So I guess maybe not so immediately. I go here and then he's going to pin it. So that's a clever idea. Let's kick the bishop back. His queen can't come out here yet, but that is always a danger when you do this kind of setup, the queen running out here. Now I can block without fear of the bishop attacking me, and I can castle. And seems I'm relatively safe here. Can bring a rook here, bring my knight back and try and put pressure on the center. He's not attacking my center pawn at all. This bishop can be repositioned somewhere useful. Okay, it looks like he's just going to set up for a direct attack here. Can always play, no, I can't. I cannot play f5 because then this bishop would hang. But I can play g6, so let's prepare to ignore his queen move by playing, not ignore it, I'm ignoring it for once, and then and at this point I have to pay attention. And now I have knight to knight to b4, hitting the queen and the queen and the bishop simultaneously. See, I can take here. He could have taken here with check, but on the other hand, I was already forking his rooks and he needed to get his piece back. So what's the best way to do this? I guess we'll start with if I go rook here, he's just going to put his queen back. I could start with the defense of the center pawn, but that seems kind of weak. Maybe bring the bishop out here. This defends the center pawn. And puts a little pressure on his knight. See what he wants to do with the knight, if anything. Then I can bring the rook out here without suffering this double attack. Queen here is this kind of double attack. Okay, his knight wants to hop in here. Can't actually go there. Maybe he's just planning to kick my bishop back. So if I put my bishop here and he trades and then he plays queen here, I can still put my queen here and defend both of these pieces. But let's develop the rook. I think that's more logical. Okay, and he stepped his queen over there. Now let's oppose his bishop. I wonder, he could have considered the sacrifice. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. What do I do? He could have done that on the previous move too. No, he couldn't because his queen was hanging. Okay. Bishop here, bishop here. Yeah, let's start. Kick the queen first. Then I can bring my bishop here to attack his bishop. Okay, he doesn't mind. I'll take it. And then lift my queen up. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess lifting it to here, hitting this loose pawn. Okay, here, let's oppose rooks first. The bishop is guarding that square. Didn't want his rook coming in here, giving me this uncomfortable check. So I don't know. Yeah, I would have lost a pawn over here anyway, even if I managed to grab a pawn here. His pawn is still hanging. Of course, he could oppose his queen. He doesn't. Goes back to this idea. Not sure what good that does. I'm not exposed to any checks, and my queen can come back and defend things, so I don't think he can do much with his queen. Just going to take here. Could still take here. Pawn takes, and then I take the knight. And he resigned. Okay, well, that was kind of a quick game. He was moving pretty fast through the whole game. You can see by the amount of time that's left. Here, let's take a quick look and see what the computer thinks of this game. Okay, they called it the delayed Alapin variation. Yeah, it looks like it was just pretty dead even. Okay for black. Looks like I missed one chance here. Looks like he missed a chance here. Let's see, what was his big chance? So it says I should have done this. This is interesting. Let's turn on the engine and see why. I go here. I thought he would just go here. And what's my answer? Then I go here. Okay, and that's all fine. So when I played this move, his knight could hop in here. Yeah, I was wondering about that, actually. I kind of noticed that. And now the bishop here is not a safe square. And the queen is threatening to come out here. So this is winning for white. Well, not an easy move to find in a blitz game. And let's see, he missed that move. And then after he retreated, I guess once again he needed to bring his knight forward, and then it's just an even game after that. And what was my chance here? So I brought my rook out. I could have pushed a pawn forward. Is that so great? Yeah, I guess the knight is nearly trapped because it's already thinking about taking on f5. But if he goes back here, then I can mess up his pawns like this. So I guess that would be an advantage for me that I missed. And then towards the end, he continued to move fast, and you can see a series of mistakes here. This was one, yeah, just leaving this pawn hanging. It's like he wasn't even paying attention to the fact that I could take there. Anyway, good game. Let's see if we can get maybe a rapid game here. Okay, time for c4. Get an English. Yeah, this is one of the ways to counter the English. Try and get a pawn on d5 anyway. I mean, the idea of the c pawn is it's going to trade itself for the d pawn. So he's carefully building up this strong defense. He's not going to play c5. Okay. I mean, he's not going to play d5. This is interesting here. So let's think it for a second. If I were to go here, he can't take with the knight. He can only take with the bishop. And I take back. And I'm threatening to take here. I don't know if that's any good. I could just defend that pawn. Prepare to fianchetto the other bishop. I think it's an interesting idea because this square is not as safe or protected as it appears. If I were to trade off this bishop, for example. But anyway, let's go here first so I can take back. If he chooses to take my knight, I can take back with the bishop. And there's a discovered attack here. If I take this pawn, the rook is trapped. So so he blocks with the knight, which is good. Okay, now what can I do? I did like the idea of kicking this bishop back. If it happens to occupy a square like this, then I can do this trick because there's still pressure on this diagonal here. Yeah, he does it. Okay, so let's think about this. Knight to b5. Somebody, I forget who, somebody was referring to this as a Jedi mind trick. You think about the move you want your opponent to play, and sometimes they just play it. Let's see. So I put the knight here. He takes. I take. If he doesn't take, he moves the bishop here or here. I guess I could come into this square. I mean, it's not like I'm doing a whole lot with that knight. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting looking trick, but I don't see the value of it. I guess the value is that I get a bishop for a knight. Because if I go here and he just retreats, or he just retreats this bishop, no, he can do that too. And I go here, I'm doubling up on this pawn. Let's play it just to have some interest in the game. See if he's paying attention. neither of us have castled, and we're doing adventurous moves with our pieces. Probably not the best play, actually. But I'm almost castled. Knight here and castle. And a nice diagonal for both bishops. It could just protect his bishop too. That's an option. Then I guess I would just develop. Well, no, I have to move this knight away because my next developing move would block the bishop, and then there wouldn't be this pin anymore. Yeah. So if he does nothing, or moves his bishop away or defends it. Well, if he just defends it, I'll trade. Get the bishop pair. If he retreats it, then I'll retreat my knight. So putting the knight. I decide to take. Okay. So I get the bishop pair, and I can take here, although this will help his development. But then I'll develop and castle. Yeah, as soon as I develop, then this pawn is hanging, so I figure I should just take. And yeah, he's one step ahead in development, but I've got the bishop pair, so should be okay. Symmetric position, meaning the pawn structures. The pawns cover the same squares. There's only one open file. The pawns cover the same files. So there's a potential fork here if I were to get a pawn on this square somehow. Pawn here, and then push. Or just e4, excuse me, just e4, e5. But before I play any more adventures, let's go ahead and get castled. So e4 threatens e5, but at the moment he could just take it. So the logical move, I suppose, is rook here, queen here to here. Then I could threaten to chase this knight away. Actually, I have to watch out about putting my queen here because he's got a knight supporting his bishop, so the bishop could go to there, put back pressure on my bishop. Now I'm guarding that square with my knight currently, so it's safe for the moment, but something to watch out for. Anyway, if I go queen here first, it actually allows e4 threatening e5. Well, he's pausing to think about how he wants to develop. I appreciate that. I approve of that, I mean. So it seems, yeah, development is pretty equal. I would say white's only advantage here is the bishop pair. Nobody has claimed the center. So one interesting question in this game is who's going to be the first to try and stake a claim to the center. With pawns, I mean. I've got pieces pointed at the center, and so does he. It's not necessarily well coordinated. Okay, since he put the queen there, though, I'm tempted to put the rook here first rather than put the queen here first. And then the threats come on the other side, right? Pawn here to here. So pawn to b4 is a threat because it threatens b5. It's a forcing move, I guess is what I mean to say. So he stepped out of the way. Okay. Then now I can put my queen here. Just have to watch out for knights coming in, but I've got that guarded. Yeah, I think now is the time to stake a claim in the center. So I'm gonna follow up with e4, threatening e5, see how he responds. He could play. Yes, if I play e4, he could play e5. It would shut in his bishop, but it would also stop me from playing d4. So probably the way to do this is to start with the move d4 and then follow with e4. So he goes for e4 directly. e5 rather. He's got 3 defenders. I've got only 2 attackers. I could actually put my queen on this square, which is looking kind of interesting to me, but yeah, you can't kick it away easily. And I'm looking at this pawn and I'm putting more pressure on his center. If I were to play d4 first and he takes, I take with the knight, he takes, I take, and I'm looking at his knight. I think I like getting the queen out here. Let's see what he does about it. He could bring his knight back to e7. Yeah, I guess knight e7 is a reasonable answer there. If I put the queen here, now I think I'm just going to go back to the old standbys, just play d3. Give the knight some ideas for maneuvering. Open up this diagonal here. So he skipped his queen over to there. Still 3 defenders, 2 attackers. So, yep, knight here. The knight could also go to this square. Yeah, so if I go knight to c5, and he moves his knight away to try and take advantage of the pin, I take the bishop, he takes the queen, I take the queen, he takes the rook, I take the rook, he takes my knight. So what's that? I get a bishop and a queen and a rook, and he gets a queen, a rook, and a knight. It's all even. If I take here first with my bishop, yeah, I think I should just get my queen off of this diagonal here. I mean, get it off the file. Not run into any knight move tactics. So his queen came forward, yeah, so knight up here. It's the bishop. Hard to say which one I want to play. But this also hits the pawn. So I think I may be threatening to win a pawn here somehow. Take the knight, take the bishop. I guess I need more force. Take the knight now. He has to take, well, he could take with either the pawn or the queen. But taking with the pawn leaves us with one fewer defenders, one fewer ways to defend. Taking with the queen seems risky. I could at least grab the pawn. So he'll take with the pawn. So bishop takes knight, pawn takes, and queen here. And I've got 3 attackers on this. He just brings a rook over to defend. Yeah, I don't think that gains anything. Maybe queen here and pawn forward to chase this knight away. Oh, he thinks he can push that pawn. Okay. That's true. I did force the knight, the bishop out of the way, so he has that. He has that option now. Knight here, pawn forward. And knight is close to being trapped. So I guess the knight goes back here. This knight is, oh no, it's not really pinned. Yeah, I'll go back here and then maybe he's weakened his c-file. So maybe I just double on the c-file. So we were talking about the center. It looks like black got 2 pawns in the center. Yeah, I was looking at that move. He can come in here, and that's a fork of the king and the rook. So I think I do need to take it. Then defend this pawn. So I still want to lift this rook up, maybe put the knight over here so that this is defending, and then double rooks. I think it's still a good thing. He's going to try and weaken my king side here, it looks like. So knight here will be a fork of these 2 pawns. And this one I'll be able to take with an attack on the queen. Looks like he went there with his bishop. Okay. He was exposing an attack to the rook, but the rook is defended. But he can bring the other rook over after trading. Yeah, so which way do I want to go with the queen? Could look at this pawn by going to b3. or this pawn by going to b2. He could bring his rook in. But the idea I have is I could push this pawn, and if he takes it, I can actually take his bishop because I've got the knight guarding that, hitting the bishop there too. So there's a kind of pin on this pawn. And yeah, he could stop that by playing rook to b3. I do have the move knight to g5 at some point. Maybe that's interesting. Hey, found rook b3. Knight g5 just drives the queen over here, I guess. I take the bishop first, queen takes, pawn forward, takes, and then there's this yeah, potential discovered attack on my queen there. Here's something. So knight takes, bishop takes, pawn forward trying to get the bishop back. The bishop retreats, and I play pawn forward again. And there's two pieces hanging. The rook is hanging, and the bishop is hanging. So knight takes, bishop takes, pawn forward. If he plays bishop takes pawn, I take the rook. If he goes here, I take the rook. So the bishop has to go back here. And I can push this pawn forward. Then he can take and I can take. Actually, I can't take. This rook will be loose here. That was not a particularly well thought out move, but I just needed to make a move. I'm going to bring my queen around this way, I think. And put the knight here. Give up the pawns on the queen side. Is that a good trade? Not sure. So he brings his knight forward. Let's kick it. He sacrifices. Okay. Could just go here. Okay, he's ganging up on this pawn. Yeah, I don't think that was a valid sacrifice, but this knight is kind of hanging out there. Let's see, knight here maybe? Especially if he kicks the knight. Well, it gets tough to fight this in low time. Sacrifice. Oh, because he gets the rook. He didn't take the rook. He's going for the knight. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I was going to go here. Looks like I might escape this, but I think I lost there. We will check that ending out after the game. Okay, yeah, so queen here, and he got also a check over here. I didn't want him putting his rook here, though, with the tempo on my queen. Oh, there. Chase the queen. If I can just trade off the queen, then looks pretty good for me. Looking at this pawn and then here. You could push this pawn forward, try and get onto this dark square diagonal, but my rook is guarding this square. Yeah, I want to give this check here. Force a queen trade. Okay, let me get on this diagonal next. Oh, I could take here. There's a pin, so I could take here. And come in with the check. It's going to try and surround that king. Okay, threatening mate. And there we go. All right. Well, I'm glad that ended well, but I think, yeah, I was in big trouble. Let's go back to that key point here. Yeah, bishop takes. So what should I play here? -3. Yeah, black is just winning already. So I was already in trouble. I took. And of course he should take here. And that's winning. He didn't take there. He went here and gave this check. Probably saw this as a way to win the knight. And yeah, this is winning for me. So that was the turning point of the game, and then I went on to win it. So I had to deal with this sacrifice at some earlier point. He was already swarming here. Okay, this was the mistake. Yeah, when he gave this check, the only defense was knight f3. The bishop f3 defense was no good. But this is good for white. White is actually still winning here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm down a pawn, but these are doubled. Oh, and I've got a piece. He had sacrificed a piece to get this position, so that's why I'm +2. So that's just material. I'm up 2 points in material, and that's the evaluation here. So when I blocked with the bishop, then he can bring queen g5. This is the only move, but this was very strong because it threatens here and it threatens here. And so that's the difference. Knight f3 keeps the queen out of this square. And let's see, he could try and continue the attack with g5. And I should bring my queen over here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of playing anyway. Give up these pawns over here and try and get more active on the king side. This immediate threat of a check and forcing a trade. h4, king g1. Doesn't take right away. Bishop, rook f1. It's doing a lot of stuff here. It's not trading queens. Let's go back up and see if the idea of trading queens is just totally wrong. This leaves white with a slight advantage, but it looks like because he can take here. Oh, he wins the exchange. So that's the threat there. So that h4 move, the strongest move. That's only really good move. Other moves, white is winning by a lot, but this is strong enough that I can't do the queen trade. I have to get out of the way, and that's why I'm doing this maneuvering. I'm avoiding losing the exchange. Let's see, and then bishop f4 here. Going back to b2, chasing me away. Still, this is an advantage to white, but black is getting some play for that sacrificed piece. So it wasn't a sound sacrifice, but as you can see, it's easy to get into trouble. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. Bye now.